Good day, it is Stephen Davids here, and in this video I want to share with you how to read stories for your grade 1 to grade 3 child. We as parents often jump into the story and just simply read it. That is not wrong, but there is a better way to let your child get the most value from the story and from the reading process. We will start with reading new stories from scratch. The first thing is you show the child the pictures, discuss it with him, and ask questions around the pictures. For example, who are here? What do they do? How are they dressed? Where do they play? What do you see in the picture? In this example, which I downloaded from the internet, you can start from the very cover of the book. You ask questions such as, what is going on? What do you see here? And this tree, what is this? This is a funny tree, ne? This is actually called a coconut tree. And if you have the facilities, you can actually go onto the internet at that very moment in time. You can then show the child how the coconut tree looks. There you show the child so that the child can see how the coconut in real time looks. Can you see it? These things are called coconut. And the coconuts are very big. And in the inside it looks white coconut, and there's oil inside, waterish, and it has a cover. And you can go on how far you want to and how far the child is interested. And you can then ask him, this girl, can you see she's a little bit strange? What does he have on? Oh, why do you say it's a girl? And here, here's an animal. What type of animal do you think it is? And so you can go, and what does it do there? What do you think this animal is doing there? And this? This is a cross with a rooster. And where do you see usually these things? So you can continue from one page to the other. First, just leisurely go through the pictures one by one. Let the child explore, let the imagination, creative juices flow. The second thing is you identify new or difficult words that the child may not know. You show them its spelling and you explain its meaning. For example, in this story, as you go through it, one by one, identified maybe rooster. What is a rooster? Show the child this is a rooster. This is how you spell it. Is this a rooster? What is a rooster? Can you see? Corrected. Corrected. Do you know what corrected means? What does it mean? If the child doesn't know, you tell him. Corrected means if you are wrong, you say, for example, if you say this is a pen and it's not a pen but rather a pencil, and you tell the person, no, you are wrong, it's a pencil, then you did correct that person. That is to correct someone. And so you continue with all the new, strange and difficult words. Your third step is to read the story twice and with feeling. Remember, in this case, don't read it dull. Your purpose is to create the child's attention and to grab his interest. Do not read it, who let the goat out? Ramesh, the coconut seller, shouted. Rocky had done it again. Read it with feeling. Who let that goat out? Ramesh. The coconut seller shouted. Rocky had done it again. Rocky, get down from there. Rose yelled. Bah! Silly humans. Rocky bleated. How could they expect him to jump down from the roof of a church? He wasn't Super Goat. And that is the way you continue then further. You do this twice. Your fourth step is to let the learner read with a pointer. You can use a ruler and also a pen and a pencil as a guide. When the child reads, you put a ruler underneath the sentence and maybe use a pencil then as a guide for pointing to the words. Who let that goat? The child first read this. Ramesh, you do not read it necessarily with the child. Let the child first read. If you see the child struggles, then you read who, because these are words that the child already are supposed to know. You showed the child what it was. You read it to him. So let the child read. He must read. Who let that goat out? Ramesh. And as he goes on, you move the ruler and your pencil pointing to the words. If the child struggles, then you show him the word and help him to pronounce Ramesh. He must look at the word. Let him look at the word. Sometimes the children look away, and then when they hear a word, it's strange to them. They know the word from hearing, but when they look at the word, they do not recognize the word. So if you show a child a word and you help him to pronounce it, then you see to it that his eyes point towards the page, or in this case, it's a computer screen where you do not then necessarily need this red line, because this red line is just a problem. Let us just remove it. All you can do is you can show that with a pointer who let that goat out. As the child reads Ramesh, the coconut sells out. The child do not have to have that feeling, because he first must recognize and learn the words. It's not for him to read with feeling. You read. Your fifth step is to read backwards. You only read a few selected sentences backwards. You don't read all the book's sentences backwards, because it's nonsense. The reason why you read backwards is the children are very intelligent and their brains are like sponges. It's easy for them to memorize the words, because you remember you read it twice for him. He read it. And so we can basically say the words without having to read it. You want to check if the child can read and if he actually knows the words. So you go anywhere in the book and the part that you read, and then you start reading backwards. Ask him to read backwards, and you just point to the words. You just point, and he must read. Appa said rooster, real, a even. Then you quickly go to another section. Carpenter, the Peter said, idea. You then ask comprehension questions based on the story you read. Remember, don't make a mistake of re-asking a simple question based on the pictures, because you want to determine, did the child listen while you read, and did he understand what he read himself? An example of such a question is, what did Rocky bleated out, and what did Rocky said when he bleated about the humans? Did he say they are clever? Did he say they are smart? What did he say? What did he call them? The child cannot get this answer merely from the picture. What did Appa said about the rooster? Did she say it's a real rooster? Did she say it's a rooster made from wood? What did she say? This answer you can't get from the picture itself. You had to listen. Your second and your last step is to ask creative questions. What do you think happened after the story? What would you have done if you were a character in the story? What things would you have done differently? Based on the story, we can now say, what other plan would you have made to get Rocky down? If you were Rocky, what other plans would you have suggested? Another example of a creative question is, they say they mustn't let Rocky out again. What do you think? Is that fair? What plans will you make if you were Rocky to get out? What do you think? If it's not fair to let a Rocky not out again, what can they do to give him some freedom? These are then the 7 steps you can follow to read a story from scratch for the kid. Sometimes you must practice a known story. The school sends a child with a story that they read, that they started from scratch. You must just practice the reading. How do you continue here? And if you start with a story, the child tells you, Opa, Daddy, Mommy, I know the story. We read it how many times? What you do then is you do spot reading. With spot reading, you just want to check that the child knows the words, he understands the words, he can read. Spot reading then, you just go to any page, let the child read this page, let the child start reading. He can even start reading backwards. Again, out, Rocky, let, don't. You go to another page. It's page 6. Read there. I have an idea, said Jaya, the banana leaf seller. Go to another page. And then point. How could they expect? Let the child read. And then you go back again. Back and forth. Can we just get Rocky down? And every now and then, also let him go back to the pages. Let him read backwards. Appa asked there. Up get he did how. Remember, backward reading is just to check that the child didn't memorize the thing, but that he knows the words. You don't do it too often. How can you add more to your child's reading experience? The one is, go to a local library for new appropriate books. Go to the child's section, the child's grade A. There will be lots of books. Go through the books. Create a love for reading by the child and a love to visit the library. Another thing is, you do an internet search where you can download free public domain pictures. You can just type in grade 2 storybook, public domain, and here comes up, in this case it is grade 1, free kids books from which I downloaded the book that I used, books E, etc. You can also just read any, it doesn't need to be public domain, just grade 2 storybook, free or what, and there you get other examples. Another option is to buy a book for your child online or to shop, or to go to a bookshop, get a small magazine or a book. Please remember to share whatever you have resources. We live in a country where a lot of people, and the majority of the people, are disadvantaged. There's always one who suffers more than you. This picture is not from South Africa, but from another country in Africa. Remember, you can physically share the book or the magazine, or many people have electronic and social media where you can, if you have a file, you can send them the file that they can read and share with their kids. Lastly, I just want to thank my sister Emily, a foundation stage teacher of many years, who helped me and provided the basics to me. Thank you very much for watching this video. We love constructive criticism and comments. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe.